Hello, good morning. Welcome to Christina's Knitting Catch-Up, episode 33, I think. Today is Sunday, the 17th of April 2016, and it is a overcast, looks like it's going to rain kind of day in Canberra where I live. And welcome to this knitting podcast. I'm going to talk about knitting today and a little bit of yarn dyeing and things like that. So thank you very much for joining me. So you can find me on Ravelry as Chrissa, that's CHRISSAAH, and Instagram as Cutieful Christina. And my yarn shop on Etsy is cutieful.yarns.etsy.com. So please do find me there, like most of you probably already have. Today, let me see, I'm a bit tired today because I watched a movie late last night, and it was very exciting towards the end and I couldn't turn it off. It was Hot Fuzz. So if you've seen Hot Fuzz, it's a pretty good movie. So I really enjoyed watching that last night. It ended at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I was kind of too excited to sleep, so whoops, never mind. That's fine. It's tired for a good reason, not for any bad reason, so that's nice. Just having my cup of tea in the morning. We had to buy a new teapot because I broke the old one. It's exactly the same as the old one. Got a bit of condensation here, but I love my teapot. It's a Bodum teapot, and it's Bodum brand, and the design is Marcel, I think. And this is a 1.2 litre capacity teapot. You can also get them in 600 ml capacity. I just love my teapot. I broke it. This is our third one, so we like it a lot. It's got such a good pouring action. It's just, come on, it's just lovely. So had to go into town yesterday and buy a teapot. We don't like buying things, especially at the moment since we're moving away, but we went into town yesterday and goodness me, we bought a lot of stuff. It was an accident. Okay, so first up, I'm going to redraw a prize winner from my knit along that happened like a month ago, because the person who won initially never got in touch. So I drew a winner, and this time the person who will be winning this lovely little project bag and keychain, that's backwards, yarn, will be, I drew it, it's going to be LME Cole, who put in 4 entries into the knit along, and I just loved her entries actually. She put in firstly a For the Love of Rainbows shawl, which is a pattern by Mina Phillip of the Knitting Expat podcast. She did that, which is amazing, from yarn that was stashed in 2014. She did a cowl out of yarn that was purchased in 2014. Just scrolling down the thread. A pair of socks that are really pretty lace design that was used from yarn stashed in 2012. So that's pretty old. And lastly, a hat that was used, made with yarn stashed in 2013. And LME Cole, that's her Ravelry username. Let's see if her profile actually has her name on there. My computer's being a bit dippy. Linda, okay. I think I already knew that. So Linda, please get in touch with me. I know that you watch the podcast because I've been in touch with you before, but please get in touch with me and I will send you out this bag, which has been, burning a hole in my little stuff. I've been really wanting to use it because it's so nice. I actually bought another bag from Knit and Stitch Bits because that's who donated this bag. It's Knit and Stitch Bits. There's a little tag. She has a shop on Etsy and I can never catch a shop update. I think she updates on Thursdays, and whenever I check it on, I don't know, Saturday, it's all sold out. But I managed to get like the last bag in stock, and it happened to be one that I really liked. I got this one, which is a large project bag, one of her large ones, and it's a puzzle. And I really like puzzles. The lining is the same as my other one, and it's the same as this one too. And they're nice and soft, and I suppose they could stand, yeah, they stand up. They do stand up by themselves, but very squishable. I really like them. And I just put a little stitch marker on here so that it's easy to pull. If she stops wiggling, she's a little fairy. And I got this fairy from my friend Andrea, who hosts the Wonderwool podcast. She's taking a little break, I think, from podcasting because life stuff got in the way, but she sells stitch markers and little needle cases on Etsy as well as Wonderwool designs. So please get in touch with me, Linda, and I will get that sent out to you. It'll go all the way across the Pacific Ocean to America. That's very exciting. Okay, so I've got one finished object to show you that I hadn't even started last time I recorded, and it's my only finished object because new and shiny things distracted me from doing the stuff that I was doing before. So this is a pair of socks, surprise, surprise, that I actually knit for my friend Kerry. There's her foot. She had a birthday, and at the time I didn't have time to make or get her anything, so I gave her a gift certificate for a pair of socks knit by me. And she came around a couple of weeks ago and I traced her foot. So these are the socks. And this is a Fish Lips Kiss Heel. And this is actually my yarn. It's the first time I've knit a pair of socks. That's a lie. It's the first time I've knit a pair of socks out of the yarn I've been selling. I have knit a pair of socks out of yarn that I have dyed, but it wasn't yarn I was selling. This was in my Etsy shop and I had to take it down because I wanted to knit with it. And it is in my Galah self-striping colorway. So that's how it turned out. Now this is quite a wide sock. Here's her foot. I don't have my foot handy, but she's a fair bit wider than me in the foot, and she's got quite a short foot, so I guess it probably evened out in number of stitches, but it was quite a bit wider. So this is a 76 stitch wide sock. I don't know if it fits her. Maybe it doesn't. That would be awful. And I've just been knitting up a little sample in a 60 stitch sock. So you can see I've got, the top is lined up there. And you can see that the 60 stitch sock has a significantly wider stripe. You can see that it gets out of sync pretty quickly. You can still see the stripes. It's not like it turns into a variegated colour. Anyway, this is a Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and you can see grey on one side and pink on the other side. And I do have a pair. So I started this a couple of days after recording. I think they only took me 10 days to complete this pair of socks because I haven't recorded in a couple of weeks. I think I'm getting a little bit busy to record every week. We'll see how we go. So I'm really happy with these, and it was so much fun to knit with my own colour and see how it progressed. It was really exciting. So yeah, I've woven in the ends and everything. And I took a picture of them on my feet, which I'll insert. I didn't think they fitted my feet particularly well, but they show what they're like. Anyway, so that's my first finished object. I kind of wish I could keep them, except they don't fit, so I don't wish I could keep them, but I wish I had a pair of my own. And I made sure that they match perfectly. So I started in the same place on the colour repeat. And I had this much left. Gosh, I wound this ball so loosely. I don't even know why I did it so loosely, but for some reason I wound the ball crazy loose, and I've been having no end of tangly trouble since I wound it. So anyway, that's my first finished object with my own yarn, which has been really exciting and fun. And I didn't get sick of it at all. Feels nice. Can't wait to give these to her. She's going to love them. She's one of those people, Kerry, who just really loves handmade presents, and she's the kindest person, and she makes handmade things too. She doesn't knit, but she's a crafty sort of person, so she gets it, you know. Okay, so I'm looking forward to giving them to her. Now with my sock recipe sort of thing, I knit those one at a time. So one sock then the other, not two at a time on the same needle. So what I did was I kind of wrote the recipe or pattern on the foot. Excuse my writing, but I cast on 20, that is on each needle, not all together. Increase every row 3 times, then every other row until 36. And I make a little mark where I got up to 36. Then I mark where I increased to 38 stitches. And then I should write, do I have a pen here? Yeah, so I should write. That's what I usually write, 36 stitch heel. So that's with a fish lips kiss heel, you sort of like the decreases are 12, the other side is 12, and the middle is 12. So that's 36 stitches. So you sort of divide into 3. And then I wrote increase to 40 for rib. So I increased like here so that the ribs is a bit, you know, bigger. So I just write the recipe on the sock, and I did the same for my next work in progress, which is my socks for my brother-in-law, my husband's brother. Cast on 14. I didn't write how I increased, but I usually just do increase 4 stitches every other row. 32, 34, 36, 38, 40 on front only, 36 stitch heel. And then, I think 40 on back for rib. So it's different depending on the foot. And I make it up as I go along, making sure that it fits the cutout. And like this person has particularly high arches, so I make sure it's kind of loose around this region so it can get over the foot. Yeah, so anyway, I finished one of his socks. And this is out of Knit Picks Felici in the greenish colorway. Yeah. And they're enormously huge. I mean, I think I'm getting sick of knitting for men. They're so big-footed. Yeah, so again, fish lips kiss heel, like I said. Yeah, very normal. I used 2.25 millimeter needles as always. And I didn't, this is the second one, I didn't try and start in the same place on the ball. The balls are actually wound different ways, I think. Oh no, they're not. No, that's the same way. That was a different one. So they don't match. It's going to be like that. But I don't mind. And I don't think he'll mind. And I don't even know if he's going to wear them. He might not end up being a sock person. You know how some people, you know, they take your handmade present and they wear it 100% of the time? Well, I would, because I really like handmade socks. They feel amazing. And I love handmade socks. They're just the best. But then there are some people who think, oh, that's nice. I think I'll just keep wearing my socks. So I gave socks to my parents, so that's two, my brother and my husband and his parents for Christmas. And my husband wears them all the time. He loves them. And my brother wore them. And that's it so far. My father-in-law says he's going to wear them when it's cold enough. So do my parents, but we'll see. So, you know, I wouldn't have not made them because, you know, I love these people, but I wish they'd wear the socks. I wish they'd just understand that they're the best. So anyway, let me see where I'm up to here. If I make it flat. See how far I've got to go before the heel. So I might get to the heel today. I actually only started this sock the day before yesterday. So I've done quite a bit. It's pretty wide. So yeah. That's pretty much my works in progress. I haven't really touched anything else. Here's my fallow jumper. And just take out the noodle. So as you can see, I've just put the sleeve on DPNs and I've started knitting down, but I haven't done very much. I don't know what is stopping me about this. I think I'm worried that it's not going to be a very good finished object and I'm not going to wear it and I'm not going to like it. I mean, I like how it looks, but when I tried it on, it was so tight across my bust. There's no bust shaping or waist shaping, so it was extremely tight across my bust. And we had this gaping in the, not gaping, it's just sort of stretching. See here, you can see my face through there. That's the center of the V-neck. And you know, I've got this dye stripe that I need to try and dye over, and I'm worried that it's going to suck, and as a result, I don't feel like knitting it, so it just sits there. But I've promised myself I'm not going to knit myself anything else until it's done, which so far I've been very good about. I haven't knit myself anything else, but for quite a while. It's all been stuff for other people. And my other two works in progress are for other people as well. So I've really got to finish that. It's my fallow jumper. I forget who it's by. And I've knit it using some alpaca that I bought at a fair. So it's like a locally spun, locally dyed alpaca that I don't think I can get any more of. It's a lovely yarn, but I'm worried also that it's going to wear really quickly and get pilly. So I don't know. It's been an extremely hard thing to knit. The lace has been really, really difficult. It's pretty though. Like, it's so pretty. I'm hoping that it will block out to be a big enough size for me, and if I'm really lucky, the excess dye will wash out and it will all be the same colour. I doubt it though. So my last finished, not finished. It's not finished. My last work in progress is this blanket. Oh, it's not getting much bigger. I've done about from there since last time I recorded, like one cable, just because I've been busily knitting socks. I'm getting a little bit stressed about my knitting because, you know, I'm moving overseas at the end of July. This needs to be done by then because the wedding that I'm giving it as a present for is at the end of July. It's so sheepy. Like, I hope that smell washes out really easily. Also, how on earth am I going to block this? Like, obviously I have to wash it because it smells so sheepy. So I think I'll have to wash it in the bath And then how am I going to dry it? I just have no idea. There's no space in my house to lay a blanket flat unless I start throwing out furniture or something. So, or maybe I could move things around. I'm not sure. So anyway, keep it away from my nose. This is a pattern that I improvised based loosely on another blanket that I have. So it's just got cables that, I'll hold it up the right way, cables that alternate in the columns. And they're all going the same way, the cables. It's a 16-row pattern. Little columns of reverse stockinette stitch in between. Here's the back. The back doesn't look like much, it looks like a back. It's a lovely wool. It's Bendigo Woolen Mills undyed 16 ply, which is really fat and, excuse me, really fat, and it comes in 200-gram skeins, hanks, which I then roll by hand because I'm pretty sure that my ball winder would not cope with this. I only have a little plasticky, ball winder, so yeah. But it's fun to knit though. Oh, it's getting heavy though. Okay, so I have one other thing on the needles, but I haven't done anything on it. It's the jumper, little cardigan for a baby. I've been invited to a baby shower. Now, where is it? So, like a couple of months ago, I started knitting a pair of socks for my yoga teacher, and I've sort of stopped because I can't really estimate how big her feet are. I know they're smaller than mine, but I don't know how much smaller, and I'm not going to do it anymore. So I thought you might like to watch me frog a sock. Now this yarn is Knit Picks Felici in the candy jar colorway, and yeah, I quite like this yarn. I don't like the green very much. I think that it kind of makes it all a bit blurgy, which is a word that I made up. I really like the other colors though, they're very pretty. As I've mentioned before, sometimes there's a little bit of color bleeding, like into the lighter colors. You can see there's a little bit of pink in this cream. Oh, there's more down here, you can see. That's not just me dirtying the skein, that's the dye. So it's not me. So yeah, I'm undoing these. You know, I don't know if I'm even going to give her a present because, you know, I paid her money, so that's a good present. I don't expect my students to give me presents, and for some of them, percussion lessons is life-changing. Don't get presents from them. Sometimes I do, and that's a special treat, but usually it's just chocolates, you know. And that is the best kind of present, because I can eat them. And I don't have to store it. I hate it when people give me stuff that I have to store. Although, because we're moving, I have gotten rid of a lot of stuff like that I haven't wanted. Lots of wedding presents. I got given a lot of platters for my wedding, which was, gosh, when were we married? 2012. So we're coming up on 4 years. So people gave us platters for our wedding, and yeah, we never use platters. We never entertain. If we do entertain, we entertain like 3 people, or 2 people more likely. Nearly there. So this was the yarn that the other ball was wound the opposite way. So the colour repeat went opposite. Yeah, I might give her something. I might just give her chocolates, like I said. Chocolates are the best present. Oh, what's going on here? So this is interesting. See, I never have an end to weave in at the beginning of my socks because I always take the tail and knit double with it for a couple of rows. And see, I don't have a tail here. It's which makes undoing it a little bit harder, but there it is. See, there's the tail. I just knit double for a little while, and that saves me having to weave in another end. And I do that whenever I change yarns in the sock as well. I knit double for a while. So that is one less work in progress. What a weight off my chest. I've just been getting so stressed about my knitting. I've got to do these green socks. I've got to do that blanket. I've got to do my jumper. I've got to do that baby jumper. And I seem to be knitting really slow. And there's a few other things that I really want to knit before I go away. Let me show you. I've got all my hand dyed over there. Just angle this down a bit. Okay. This I dyed the other day, and it is actually a sport weight sock yarn. So it's got merino and nylon in a sport weight. It's very soft and squishy. This is the yarn that I dyed and made a pair of socks for my father-in-law from. Anyway, so this yarn I dyed to make a pair of socks for my brother, and like I said, he has a pair of socks that I made for him at Christmas, and he wears them a lot. He really likes them, so he's sock worthy, right? Did I only put one tie in this? I better put another tie in it. What can I use? Here we go. Just, I think 2 ties in a skein is the way to go, actually, because otherwise it gets a little bit messy. Not that it matters. I'm going to wind this into a ball soon anyway. But this is a colorway that I dyed for my brother. It is a green going into a kind of gradient burgundy. So this is probably the darkest burgundy in there, and it goes all the way down to this light pinky red. It's not really pink, it's sort of more mauve, more like this color. And the green is a slightly gradient color as well. I can't wait to see how this knits up. It's like a Christmassy kind of color, but my brother's colors are burgundy and green. That's the colors that he gravitates towards. If he has to choose a shirt or something, he'll choose a red shirt or a green shirt, and he looks good in these colors. So I dyed this up for him, and I really want to knit this soon because I think I mentioned he's been unwell. He's in Canberra now, which is good, but he's not a well boy, and he's pretty depressed about it all, so I want to knit him something to cheer him up. He'll be okay, don't worry. But I love him to bits, and I'm so bad at skeining things up. Oh well, doesn't matter. I might put this in a ball soon. So the gradient should be, the stripe pattern should be similar to, there we go, that's pretty dodge. Should be similar to this. So like if the pink is the burgundy, going into a lighter color, and then the green where the grey is. The green didn't turn out to have as much of a gradient effect as I had hoped. Just different dyes react differently. But that's how it should work, so hopefully I'll get those on the needles soon and make them for him. So I'll do that. Yeah, that's all my knitting and things that I'm about to knit. So next I wanted to talk about dyeing. I've done a lot of dyeing. So actually this past week I sold out of yarn on my Etsy shop, and it was amazing. It was such a good feeling. Like, yes, it's been up there for a while. Oh no, I just tipped them everywhere. They've been up for a while, but it was exciting to finally actually sell out. Excuse me, I have to pick up this mess. Okay, oh, what a mess. Okay, so I'll start with speckles. I've done 2 speckle colorways, and I have 2 of each. So here they are. And so the first one, I think I called Sunset Speckle, because it's just this peachy orange sort of tonal colour with reddy pinks and yellows through. And that's really pretty. I like that. I like all of them, but I particularly like this batch. I think it came out really well. This is what I call confetti speckle. So it reminds me of confetti on a white wedding dress. So it's got pink, blue and yellow speckles, and in some places, if you're lucky, the 2 colours have mixed and created a tertiary colour, like we've got a bit of green in places. Yeah, so that's my speckles. Next, I've got a couple of self-striping. These are all sock yarn. So here's my first self-striping, and this, I really love this. I called this Happy Little Clouds, and it is pretty much exactly the same as this, except blue instead of pink. So exactly that same sort of gradient effect in the stripes. Happy Little Clouds. And this one is called Jacaranda Tree in Bloom, and it's a lovely purple gradient going into a green. Again, same sort of thing as this. So there you go. I really like that one. So it's a bit brighter than it's showing on screen. And one last thing. Now this is a one of a kind. I'm never doing this again because the method was insane. Is this gradient. And they are 2 50-gram balls of Stellina Sparkle Sock. And the gradients do match. I just wound them different ways to show off the colours. It's brighter than it's showing on screen. A darker green, but it goes from this burgundy through to purple, blue, and then green. So they match, and they're 50 grams each, so you could make a matching pair of socks out of that. Or mittens or whatever. So that's my dyeing. And they're all up in the shop. So do go have a look. Let me see. I don't have anything else much to say. I played in a little concert last night where I did experimental music on pots and pans and stuff, which was fun. Bit of a silly kind of concert, but it's easy. And then I came home and watched a very exciting, fun movie. I recommend Hot Fuzz. What a great movie. Let's see, I've been on holidays from school for a week now. I've got one more week before term goes back. Yeah, it's been nice. Been seeing a lot of my brother and doing stuff there and trying to get rid of more things so that we can move. We have, I hope we have found an apartment in Oslo to move into, but I'm not sure. We'll see if they accept us, because it's dependent on them. We have applied and they probably have more than one application, but if they're feeling really kind, they'll give it to us, the weirdos, without a Norwegian bank account. So, yeah, wish us luck for that. Thanks everybody for getting in touch with me the past couple of weeks. It's been really nice to hear from you. I've been watching podcasts as usual, and I've been watching one in particular called Crazy Knitting Studio with Kristen, and she is a podcaster in America. She's a mum, and she has nice shortish podcasts like I do, not too long. You don't really have to settle in to watch her podcast, and she makes me laugh, so I recommend watching her. There was one other thing I wanted to tell you about that someone got in touch about. Let me just look for it. So, I'll just read you this email I got. Hi, my name is Lisa. I discovered your podcast, blah, blah, blah. I decided to create the Sock Yarn Swappers group on Ravelry. We are supporting, motivating, and encouraging each other while working on scrappy blankets. And of course, we're swapping tons of minis. Now, you guys know that I don't have a mini blanket. Mini skein blanket or anything. I don't have a sock yarn blanket. I'm not interested in that. But you may be. So, she says, I currently have a lot of swapless swaps going on in the group, many of which still have spots available. I'm featuring a lot of great dyers, including Woolly Lion, Mustache, Mint Rain, The Yarn at Home Mum, and Artistic Yarn by Abby, just to name a few. A swapless swap is where the participants sign up for the swaps they're interested in, pay the fee via PayPal, and then I place a large order with the dyer. Once all the dyed yarn gets sent to me, I create minis in 5 or 10 gram weights and send them back out to the participants. So that sounds cool. It's a really good way to try out all of these different indie dyers yarns. So if you guys want to join this group and get involved with the swapless swaps, so you don't have to send anything out, you can find it. It's Sock Yarn Swappers on Ravelry. So that looks like fun, actually. I wish that I did do sock yarn blankets because I would totally be in on that. And I told her, this girl Lisa, I told her that I'm a dyer, and she said that when she has some spots, like next year, she'll get some yarn off me and do one for me, which will be fun. Yeah, so, and that, I think, is all I had to say. So I did my giveaway. So this is for Linda. Please get in touch with me, Linda. I told you about my knitting, this, and the others. I undid this. I told you about Crazy Knitting Studio and the Sock Yarn Swappers. And I think that's it for today. It's a bit of a longer episode. I feel like I've talked and talked. So yeah, please do go and support me on Etsy. I know a lot of you are, and I really appreciate it. It's super fun, actually, to sell to you guys because we have little conversations and things on Instagram and stuff. It's really lovely. So, yeah, I appreciate everybody's contacts and everybody buying things from me. Seriously, buy these. They're amazing. When you unwind these and look at the gradient, it is amazing. They look like unicorn tails or something. It's really fun. But I'm never going to do this again because it was just bonkers. Okay, I'll tell you what I did. So this yarn came in 2 50-gram balls. And to start with, I wound them into one big yarn cake held double. So I had one cake with a double strand. And then I made a pot of dye. I soaked it. And then I made a pot of dye in the red. I actually just put red in and it went burgundy. I don't know. And I fed the yarn in just by hand, like the 2 strands together. No hank, no nothing. I just fed the yarn in. And when a bunch of yarn had been absorbed, I put in a drop of blue and then mixed that around and then fed more yarn in. And when that had been absorbed, I put in another drop of blue. So it went from like this red through to a purple. Then I just kept feeding it through. When it was mostly blue pot, feeding it in, I started to feed, drop in a little bit of green. So that is how that worked, and it was insane. And you would not believe, yeah, you would, the tangle when I tried to divide them. So it was okay getting it out of the pot. I just wound it into, by hand, I wound it into a ball. And that worked fine. So it was one ball with 2 strands. But then after that, winding that into 2 hanks was insanely hard. It got twisted, it got knotty, it was wet, so it was kind of sticking together. I had to get help from my husband, and it took like 2 hours to do. So I will not be doing this again, but the result is super awesome. Yeah, that was silly. I'll think of a different way to do gradients. Oh dear. So that is the end of my podcast for today. Do get in touch. It's been real fun talking to you. So you have a great week. Have a great week doing things that you like and doing lots of knitting. So bye.